Welcome to night 2 of Navaratri, this Durga devotional. Tonight we're going to dive into Durga's mythology and the battle of good over evil. Durga's myth comes to us from the Devi Mahatmya, or glory of the goddess, which dates back to the 5th century CE. This is a Hindu philosophical text describing the goddess as the supreme power and creator of the universe, known as Mahadevi or Adishakti. The legend details her triumph as mother goddess and warrior queen who consistently wins the battle of good over evil. In the myth, the buffalo-headed demon king known as Mahishasura has raised armies of destruction and is waging war on earth and in heaven. Mahishasura is a shape-shifting asura, or demon, known to take many forms. The story goes, he practiced tapas, or spiritual disciplines and austerities for ages to gain spiritual powers, or siddhis, to become immortal. He went to Lord Brahma, the creator god, and asked for the gift of immortality as a boon for his extreme endeavors. It was by natural law that Lord Brahma had to reward the asura in some way for his efforts, but rather than give him the gift of immortality, Brahma agreed that Mahishasura could only be killed by a woman. With this, Mahishasura begins to take over the world. He builds an army of asuras, demons, and begins raging war. After he conquers earth, he then rages war on heaven. A war begins between the devas, the shining ones or gods, and the asuras, the demons. After hundreds of years in battle, the asuras prevail and conquer heaven. Mahishasura overthrows Indra, the king of the devas. He continues to destroy, rape, pillage, and consume all that is good and true. There is nothing that can satisfy them. They begin to destroy heaven, as they have done to the earth, consuming everything, leaving a path of destruction in their wake. Concerned for life itself, the Devis gather together and consult the principal gods of the Hindu pantheon, known as Lord Brahma, the creator, Lord Vishnu, the preserver, and Lord Shiva, the destroyer. The Trimurti of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva become outraged at what the asuras have done to the worlds. Together they unite, and the strength of their anger, their fury, and their outrage begins to unite as one powerful force, and a radiant goddess appears before them. She is glowing, radiant rays of truth and light. She is the most fiery, magnificent sight. She is power, beauty, grace, and fierce compassion embodied. She is the essence of the power that fuels the righteous fire that began to burn in the hearts of the Devas. She is the divine Rajas, the sacred power, Shakti. Durga, the invincible. Durga, the fortress. Durga, the supreme goddess and mother of the universe. The gods recognize her as the most powerful and begin to honor her with their most sacred weapons and jewels. Shiva hands her his trident, the Trishula. Lord Vishnu gives her his Sudarshan chakra. Indra gives her his thunderbolt. The other gods do the same, each handing her their sacred weapons and adorations. They explain to her what has been done to the earth and heaven, and how Mahishasura and his army of demons are destroying everything. Durga begins to radiate with wild fires of divine Rajas. She takes up all the weapons before her in her 8 arms, mounts a golden lion that was gifted from the mountain god Himalaya himself, and begins to roar, ready for battle. She is roaring in laughter. She's laughing, and she's roaring. As she rides, she does not give a fuck. She is here to conquer fear itself. and her laughter leads the way as she begins to slay. And she's slaying the asuras, and she laughs. The earth is quaking as she moves. The mountains begin to rumble and crumble, and she continues to play as she slays armies upon armies of demons. She has no fear because she is invincible. She is power itself. She is fire and she is fury. She is the righteous anger that rumbles from the depths and the heights to ensure dharma or righteousness prevails. Oceans swell and the world rocks, thundering and rolling beneath her. The asuras grow surprised that there is still a force that they have not yet defeated. They begin to gather all their weapons and prepare for battle. And they have it all. War chariots, swords, flaming arrows, clubs, spears, knives, everything. They are a thriving army of demons. Yet Durga rages on, roaring in laughter as the slaughter begins. However, Mahishasura has given the asuras the power to multiply with every drop of blood that is spilt. Demons begin to multiply around her as each drop of blood lands to the earth. And so, Durga begins to multiply herself. She creates her own army of divine feminine warrior goddesses known as the Matrikas, and they let their arrows fly. A dark goddess known as Kali emerges out of Durga's third flaming eye and begins to lap up each drop of blood with her long snake-like tongue before it can even hit the ground. And so, the goddess rules. She devours the asuras. The demon king Mahishasura is furious, outraged. How dare this woman insult him? He was determined to defeat her, and when he did, he would take her as his own. He wanted to conquer and consume everything, even the Great Mother herself. And so, the battle between Durga and Mahishasura began. Mahishasura has become very strong in his reign and the power he gained from overtaking the worlds. As a shape-shifting demon, he begins to change forms, but Durga flings her noose and binds him. The asura shapeshifts into a lion, and with her sword she cuts his head off. When she cuts off his head, he appears as a man with a sword and shield. And when Devi attacks him again, he shapeshifts into a huge charging elephant. Durga's blows and fierce passion in action take down the elephant, and again he changes form, this time into a buffalo-headed demon god. Roaring with laughter, Durga battles one of Mahishasura's forms after another until eventually he crawls out of the head of the buffalo with sword and shield, and Durga chops off his head. She kills him. The battle is over. The victory of good over evil has been won. The gods and devas and all of earth dance in celebration. The sacred balance is restored to earth and heaven. The devas can return to heaven. The beauty of life returns. Dharma prevailed. Love wins. Love always wins. This is the lesson here. Love is the power of the universe, and the goddess is love. As with all myths, there is a deeper teaching encoded in the symbolism and metaphors than we might first realize. When we take these stories to heart, we can see that we all have shape-shifting demons inside ourselves. The battle of good over evil is reflected in each and every one of us. It is our inner battle of awareness over ignorance, consciousness over delusion. The asuras are our shadows. Our ever-grasping ego, the false self that leads us astray, our addictive natures, our root fears, insecurities, and limitations. These are the lies we tell ourselves. Mahisasura represents the deep-seated issues that continually shape-shift from one form into another, keeping us stuck in the same cycles of suffering, defeat, delusion. Just when we think we've dealt with one thing, another issue arises. But lucky for us, we have a most powerful goddess, willing and ready to fight the battle with us and for us. Her power and the gifts of her sacred weapons are all aspects of ourself. We can align with this energy and become the warrior queens and kings of our own realities. But this is not the only lesson here. Durga's myth also shows us that even a demon can be granted spiritual boons. For example, in the legend, Mahisasura gains powers and receives boons from Lord Brahma, the creator, by doing tapas. Tapas is spiritual discipline. This makes us question our own true intentions for doing spiritual practice and why we do what we do. Are we just feeding our own egoic desires for worldly gain? This is something to think about. Lastly, Durga's myth tells us that the goddess had all the other goddesses inside herself. The Matrikas were all a part of her. Kali jumps out of her third eye. This reveals to us that we too have the necessary power within us to become the warrior goddess of our own realms and become exactly what we need to be in order to defeat our own demons, no matter what form they take or how they multiply. The power lies within us both to create and destroy. And so I ask you, what are you creating? And what are you destroying? I hope you enjoyed this retelling of the sacred myth of Durga. Thank you so much for listening in devotion to the goddess that lives within all of us. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha, Jai Ma, Jai Durga Ma. Blessed be.